Oh my gosh. So I have been working for 2 years now with a Congolese refugee group in Independence, Missouri. And about 8 months ago, I had another contact from that group and started working with a guy who was working with a whole group in Louisville, Kentucky. They say Louisville down there. So he had been meeting when we first met about 8 months ago with maybe I think 15 people that he started meeting with in his basement, his family and maybe another family. And then this is just last weekend. And I took the youth group, the choir, we got in a huge 15 passenger van. And also there was another car that went with us and went down and got to sing and be with this group at the Forest Hills congregation in Louisville, Kentucky, and met these people while we were down there, had 13 confirmations. So that is me doing a selfie with the whole group as they were gathered right as we got there, because I then did about a 2 hour class on Community of Christ identity, mission, message, and beliefs.
So,
Matters because my experience, I have now worked with refugee groups in many different places, especially in Europe. That's where I became really heavily involved with not only groups that were Congolese refugees, but immigrant groups, Filipino groups, groups from Honduras and other parts of Latin America, in all different places throughout Europe. And what I know, what we all know, is when we are far from home, we begin to really need community. And people are looking to form community wherever they are. So these groups have been placed somewhere in the US through a US refugee resettlement program. And they are now looking for others, people that were in their same villages or towns in the refugee camps. And so that's how this came about. We had a person in our group who actually was a community organizer in Tanzania in the refugee camp. And this is one of the people that he worked with. And they had such respect for him that they wanted to know more about this community of Christ that he was becoming a part of here in Independence. And then finally decided a few months ago, I too want to be a part of that experience. And we went down because he had already asked for confirmation, but had also said he wanted to come to World Conference. And I thought, if I can get there before World Conference, that will allow him to come and not just experience conference up in the balcony, but he'll actually be a voting delegate and have his voice potentially be heard at the conference. So in this photo, I think that Christ's mission is being lived out in so many relevant ways. And it is not just about the people that we are meeting and working with. It is about the hearts and the hospitality of the congregations that are opening their doors. So when I contacted Robin Linkhart and said, hey, I'm going down to Louisville in about 2 weeks, is there any possibility maybe a congregation could allow us to come in and use their space so that I can do a class, use PowerPoint, or just have a space where we can gather? Because as I told you, this group is actually meeting in a basement. And so Robin checked with the pastors. They immediately kind of wrote me a text, and all of a sudden we were in communication. And not only did they open their doors for us to have our gathering space in their congregation at the Forest Hills Community of Christ congregation in Louisville, but they then even said, well, are you spending the night? And I said, well, yes, we're not exactly sure what's going on with that. And they said, we have showers in our church. Come and stay the night here. When we got there, they had all sorts of snacks ready for the kids for that evening. We had the other group that we were meeting with actually bring food that evening and for lunch the next day. And many people from the congregation stayed, and we shared a meal together as well.